So in this video we'll discuss about the determinants of health. Determinants which determines the health. So as we all know, health is multifactorial. That is, health depends upon the many factors. It doesn't depend upon a single factor, and it is multidimensional also. So the determinants, definition of the determinant of health is the determinants of health are the factors which influences the health lie both within the individual, that is internally, and externally in the society in which he or she lives. So this is the definition. Determinants of the health. If you see the genetic factors and the environmental factors, as an equilibrium between the genetic factors and the environmental factors which promote health or also which can deteriorate health. So the determinants of health are the genetic factors and the environmental factors which promote or deteriorate the health. So determinants of health. See, biological determinants, behavioral determinant, and sociocultural determinant, environmental determinant, socioeconomic determinant, health system is a determinant, aging of the population, gender, other forms. These all are determinants of the health. That is, these all will determine the health. See, if you see, this is the picture in the textbook of Parks. See, biological, behavioral, environmental, socioeconomic, health systems, socioculture, aging of the population, science and technology, information and communication, gender, equity and social justice, human rights. This all health, communities, families, individual, society. See, individual, families, communities, and societies. See, it's a cycle. So this all determines the health of an individual. So if we study individually, we can say the biological determinants. So for example, biological, what if I want to say as simple as that, if you assume a cell, it has a nucleus, it has a DNA, right? So DNA at the time of division will be arranged in the form of chromosomes. So if you see this part, and if I zoom, I can see a DNA segment. In that DNA segment, I can see the sequences of DNA. Those are all called as gene, which expresses into a trait, right? So a gene is the basic physical and functional unit of heredity composed of specific DNA sequences. So provide instructions for making proteins molecules, which in turn they form the traits, right? So example, if sperm and ovum fuses, the genetic material in the sperm and the genetic material in the ovum will have both have different traits, genes, right? So they, at the time of conception, they both fuse and the zygote is formed with the inclusion of these two traits, these two genes from the mother and the father. So the physical and mental traits of every human being are to some extent determined by the nature of his genes at that moment of conception. And see, these genes after the conception, after the formation of zygote, so they can form a normal protein or molecule or abnormal protein or molecule. If normal protein molecule is formed, then the baby born is a healthy baby without any defects or malformation. If the genes, if the father or mother has a defective genes, if those expressed, they can form abnormal protein or molecule, which can lead to abnormal trait or malformation or defects. So a number of diseases are now known to be of genetic origin. So that is the concept that these biological determinants will play a key role. Example, the chromosome anomalies like Klinefelter syndrome, Down syndrome, and Turner syndrome, or errors of the metabolism like PKU, phenylketonuria, or lysosomal storage disorders, and mitochondrial disorders, and mental retardation, diabetes, etc. etc. So the state of health therefore depends partly on the genetic constitution. The medical genetics offer hope, prevention, and treatment of a wide spectrum of diseases, prospects of better medicine and longer, healthier life. Although a vast field of the knowledge has yet to be explored or exploited, so play an important role in genetic screening and genetic gene therapy. I hope you have understood the intro of the biological determinant of health. So the definition as follows: from the genetic standpoint, health may be defined as the state of individual which is based upon the absence from the genetic constitution of such genes as correspond to character that take the form of serious defect and derangement. Those genes the individual which has those upon the absence from the genetic constitution of such genes, such those defective genes which form serious defects or derangement, and to the absence of any aberration in respect of the total amount of chromosome material in the karyotype, right? Or stated in positive terms, from the presence in the genetic constitution of the genes that correspond to normal characterization and the presence of a normal karyotype. Let me repeat the definition. The state of individual which is based upon the absence from the genetic constitution of such genes, based on the absence from the genetic constitution of such genes as correspond to the character that take the form of serious defects or derangements, malformation, as simple as that, and to the absence of any aberration in respect of total amount of chromosome material character, or state in positive from the presence in the genetic constitution of the gene that correspond to normal characterization and to the presence of normal character. Simply, I have like what can I say is there should be no serious defects or derangements that is contributed by those genes, defective genes, and the born child or the born output or byproduct should be normal characterization and normal karyotype. It is the biological determinant of health. If any defective genes are there, obviously some serious defects or derangement will be there in the baby or the byproduct or offspring or the individual. So that time the normal characterization will be lost and the normal karyotype will not be there. So WHO defined as the positive health advocated by the WHO implies that a person should be able to express as completely as possible the potentialities of his genetic heritage, expressing the genetic heritage, expression of the genes. Second is the behavioral and socio-cultural condition. Behavioral and socio-cultural condition. One single word I can say in this section is the lifestyle. Lifestyle is a diffuse concept often used to denote the way people live, that is behavioral and social cultural condition. The way people live, reflecting a whole range of social values, attitudes, and activities, composed of cultural, behavioral patterns, lifelong personal habits, example smoking, alcohol, these all that have developed through the process of socialization. Lifestyle is not inherent, it will be developed by that individual in due course of time, culturally, behaviorally, and the personal habits, socialization through the process of socialization, that he will develop those kind of behavioral and socio-cultural conditions. Lifestyles are learned through social interactions from parents, peer groups, friends, siblings, and through school, mass media, etc. Health requires the promotion of healthy lifestyle. Healthy lifestyle. So lifestyle equal to health. Association between health and lifestyle of individual. If lifestyle is good, the health will also be good. If lifestyle is bad, the health will also be bad. Deteriorates. Note, many current day health programs, especially in the developed countries, are associated with lifestyle changes. Examples here is coronary heart diseases, obesity, lung cancer, drug addiction. These all are associated with the lifestyle changes. In the developed countries. In developing countries, example India, traditional lifestyle still persists. So the risk of illness and death due to lack of sanitation, poor nutrition, personal hygiene, elementary human habits, customs and cultural patterns determine the health. All lifestyles are not harmful. There will be lifestyles that promote the health. There will be the lifestyles which deteriorate the health. So health promoting are those we'll focus. So example like adequate nutrition, enough sleep, sufficient physical activity, etc. Achievement of optimum health depends adoption of healthy lifestyles. Here is the thing, like health is both a consequence of an individual's lifestyle and a factor in determining it. So determinant of health. Third is the environment. So in ancient times, Hippocrates said disease and environment are in equilibrium or are closely related. What we can say, disease and environment are closely related, like environment, climate, water, air. If any hazards occur in the environment, so the individual developed the disease. So that, like that, the Hippocrates stated. After many decades or many years, Wettenghoff from Germany revived the concept of disease association with the environment. He revived the concept of disease and the environment association. So environment. See, if you see the concept of disease and environment association, environment is two types: internal environment and external environment or macro environment. Each and every component, part, every tissue, organ system are the, and their hormone is functioning within the system. Homeostasis. This is the homeostasis. See, internal environment is the domain of internal medicine. So this internal environment says about the homeostasis. External environment defined as all that which is external to the individual human host. So these environment components are physical, biological, psychosocial, any or all, which affect the health of the individual. See, the micro environment or domestic environment or personal environment, these are the other type of environment, includes individual's way of living and lifestyles. Example, eating habits, other personal habits, smoking, drinking, etc. So there are many other environment like occupational environment, socio-economic environment, moral environment. Environment has direct impact on physical, mental, and social well-being. The factors like those range from housing, water supply, psychosocial stress, and family structures to social and economic support systems to organization of health and social welfare services in the community.